So, Wendy and Paul, thanks for coming in and having a chat today. Really nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, could you want to tell me a little bit about yourselves, kind of a bit about the history of how you got started in fostering, kind of your story, because you've got a bit of media already in Oldham. A lot of people might have seen already that you've done a lot of fostering throughout your years, and we're kind of keen to hear about why you've done that, maybe a bit of information around how people can get involved in it, and a bit of an overview around, you know, how you got started initially.
So I grew up in a fostering family. By the time I was born, my mum was already a foster carer. So all these kids that were my sisters and brothers, they weren't my birth sisters and brothers, but they was my mum's heart sisters and brothers. That's what we called them. That's what my mum used to call them. You've grown in my heart and not in my tummy. So yeah, my mum was a foster carer for many years. And then as I grew up, I was adamant I wasn't going to work with children. My older sister became a foster carer, and I got a job at British Aerospace, and I was not working with children. And then as the years progressed and Paul and I was married and the children were older, that's when we decided actually we could do it and we could make a difference, and we've got a lot to offer. So that's when we contacted Oldham Council. We was adamant we wanted to go with the council and not with an agency. We didn't want to go with somebody that does it for profit, so we went with Oldham Council, and that was 14 years ago. And we've just never looked back. It's just been an amazing journey.
So tell me about that first experience then. Obviously you knew about fostering through your, you know, the extensive kind of family before, but I guess I'm trying to paint a picture of people who maybe you've never considered fostering or think about it for the first time. What did you kind of expect, and how did that go, and what was it like for you, that very first child?
Our very first child, it wasn't anything we expected.
You only spoke Arabic.
We was expecting, once we'd been to panel and we'd been approved, we knew we had to wait 2 weeks for it all to be authorised, and it was authorised. It was a Friday afternoon, and we got a phone call saying there was an 8 to 9-year-old boy living in London with his auntie, but his mum was in Oldham. They were struggling a little bit with his behaviour, and they was looking for somebody to have him for the weekend. He spoke broken English and had a few behavioural problems, and he came to us, and he was nearly 6 foot tall. He'd come from Somalia, and he didn't speak any English whatsoever. And he stayed with us for 7 months. It was a very steep learning curve, and sometimes we did question what we was doing.
He had an Oldham accent by the time he left.
By the time he left, he had
that long weekend turned into 7 months.
I would love to hear a Somali and Arabic Oldham accent.
Oh,
yeah.
That's great.
But you know, it's the laughs we had with him and the all I can liken him to is if you've ever seen the film Elf. Everything was brand new to him, going up an escalator, going in a shop, he'd talk to the mannequins and things like that, because he'd never seen those things like before. And for us, it just opened our eyes completely as well. It was like all these things in the world that we take for granted, you know. And even like we took him to visit my mum one day in Fleetwood, and the farmers had been spreading muck, and one of his comments was it just smelt like dead bodies, because in Somalia there was bodies all over the place, and he just likened the smell. So it was just a massive learning curve for everybody.
Wow.
He won us an holiday, didn't he?
He did with us a holiday with his dancing skills, but
went
unfortunately
to a campsite in Devon. He won the dancing competition and won and qualified for the regional dance off.
Yeah.
But we couldn't take it because we didn't know how long he was going to be with us.
Yeah, yeah. For all the challenges we had, he just smiled constantly. And it gave us a new zest for life, if that's how I can explain it. Because all these things that we took for granted, everything was a new experience for him. So it was like we was living it again through his eyes. Yeah.
That's incredible. I mean, you just can't predict that, can you?
No, not at all.
To think what you might get, and then having that whole new experience. Someone struggling with the language, and I guess it is that fresh perspective, isn't it? If you've gone through life, you know, your kids have moved out and grown up, you're thinking, what could be next to me? Having someone come in and just give you a completely unexpected So you had him for 7 months.
7 months.
And then the next step was it? Were you straight into, we want to do it again? Were you apprehensive around it, or was that it now? You were
So no, we were straight back into it. So the next phone call was for 2 children, 2 siblings aged 6 and 8, a boy and a girl. And the girl has just left us last year, aged 19. She's moved into a flat and she's at university doing nursing now.
Oh, I must be so proud.
So absolutely love her like my own. She's just amazing. She's overcome lots of hurdles herself. She was with us 13 years. Like I say, she's in all the family WhatsApp groups, everything. She calls for a tea, she raids my fridge, she empties my cupboards. She's just like, pinches my clothes. She's just like my own, yeah. So that's really rewarding, seeing what she's doing and the fact that she's at university now and living independently.
Yeah, and I think that seems to be one of the key things around when people talk about fostering. It's the challenging but rewarding.
Yeah.
And that you are obviously, they're in foster care for a reason. They've obviously had a troubled life through no fault of their own, and the rewarding part of seeing them grow and helping them out through that period. So how many is it now that you've fostered?
It's around 30 children we've fostered altogether, but some have stayed with us for 12, 13 years, some just a few weeks, depending on circumstances.
It actually helped them though, doesn't it? Having the 2 long-term ones, because when the others come in, it's like
so
they're scared because they've just been took into care, but they can talk to the ones who have been with us a couple of years and can explain that you're not the only ones that are in care, because a lot of children think they're the only ones that have been took into care.
Absolutely, yeah.
So over 30 children, many years. I'm going to put you on the spot, and there's no right answer to this, but what do you think, if you had to nail it down to maybe 1 or 2 things of the secrets of being great foster parents?
Sense of humour. Definitely.
Sense of humour straight away.
It's got to be.
Understanding, patience, but that sense of humour.
I thought you were going to say patience.
Patience is there. I mean, we're both really patient anyway, so you've got your patience, your understanding, your empathy.
Definitely a sense
but
of humour.
It's definitely a sense of humour.
Why a sense of humour?
Because it's not, you've got to think you're caring for the young children. That's the easy part. Sometimes it's dealing with the other professionals. That can be the hard part. So as well as caring for the children, you deal with social workers, therapists, school, all sorts of different professionals are involved in these children. And you're going to have disagreements, they're professionals, and we feel as though we know the children best because they're living with us 24/7. And there's going to be disagreements, and there's going to be times where I am a fighter, and if I believe something for those children, I will not give up. And any social worker in Oldham will tell you that. If I've got to be in my bonnet, that is it. I will just carry on and on and on. And I have done a few times, haven't I? But at the end of the day, when the kids are in bed and we sit down with a cup of tea, don't we? And we can just have a laugh and, just like offload to each other, don't we? But it is a sense of humour, what is really...
Not taking it all too seriously.
Yeah.
And I guess that must really help for the kids as well, the fact that if you can laugh about it, they can laugh about it.
Absolutely. Some of the children we've had absolute pranksters. We've had sheets over the toilet. We've had ghosts in the bath. We've had. I mean, obviously, the children, and if their background is severe trauma, then you wouldn't expect these kind of jokes. But some of the children have just been such pranksters, and we've got them back a few times. You've had a gorilla outfit on and hid behind the door.
I've jumped out during Halloween. I've jumped out from behind the door dressed as a gorilla.
Wait, sorry.
Maybe.
Tell me more about that.
No, maybe not.
It was Halloween, and we had a full gorilla outfit. And I was just trying it on, and I heard one of the children was just in the bedroom, so I just waited outside the room. And as they came out, I just jumped at them, and they weren't expecting it because they'd not seen it before.
But that was the day after the Clink filmed the toilet. That was getting them back. Yeah. So that kind of sense of humour as well. But like I say, you know which children. You wouldn't do it. These were the children who'd been with us for a long, long time who've just left us. to be like part of our family, you know, so we know them well, and we know their senses of humour, and they play some wicked tricks on us, and yeah.
So sense of humour, definitely a good trait. And I suppose, again, if someone was thinking about fostering, thinking, is this right for me? We talked about, you know, you got patience, understanding, got a sense of humour. What about some of the kind of the more like practical aspects? Obviously, you need to have space for a child. Is there anything else you think that people should be aware of if they're thinking, maybe I'm just not quite sure if it's for me? Any advice you'd give them to say, you know, to make that step to go for, or at least inquire to see? I think
the
first steps.
Paul and I were at that stage where, well, it's something we'd like to do, but we're not quite ready. And all I can say is, you're never quite ready. There's always something there holding you back, and just pick up the phone and speak to the fostering team, have a chat with them about it, and you'll be surprised. You are ready. You are ready to do it, yeah.
Yeah, just about going forward and taking that first step. You never know what's going to come out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So within that kind of fostering network, could you explain a little bit about how the Mockingbird system works? Because I would imagine a barrier for some people when they go into it. There's all this terminology around, there's the different ways different councils do it, there's agencies who you said do it for profit, where if you do it for a council, you're not.
Mm-hmm.
How does that kind of system work, and your role in that kind of supporting the children?
Right, so Paul and I became Mockingbird Hub carers in October last year. So we have 8 fostering families in our hub. 6 are foster carers and 2 are kinship carers, which is where it's a family member that cares for another family member. It might be auntie, uncle, grandma. And those 8 families come to us for support, for activities and monthly meetings. We also provide sleepovers for the children to give those carers a break. We'll attend their meetings with them, and we'll represent them, and you know, them when we can, won't we? One of our carers recently described us. We had their children for a few days when things were really tough, and the carers were really struggling with the children. And they said, you're not respite carers, you're rescue carers, because if we didn't have you, that placement would have broken down. And you've given us the chance to have a break and just to, you know, rediscover ourselves.
Recharge.
And I wish that kind of thing was going when we was foster carers, because you do need, you've got your social workers, but they're not there at weekends, and they're not always there at evenings, and you do sometimes need that extra bit of support. And that's what we're trying to do now, just provide that extra bit of support, just to be an ear for them. They can phone us anytime if they've had a bad day, if they don't know what to do, if they're in a bit of a sticky situation, give us a bell. We'll help them when we can. If not, we'll signpost them or find the next steps available for them. We'll have the children on sleepovers. All the children get together every month for an activity day, which is absolutely fantastic. They see they're not the only children that are looked after in Oldham. We have children aged from 1 to 17 in our hub, as well as looked after children. All the birth children, the carers' birth children are in the hub as well. So they can come for sleepovers as well as looked after children.
It's a big community rather than
it's a family. It's a family. That's what I'd describe as.
They've had a meeting outside the hub as well, and like a couple of the children have made good friends with each other, so they're going to Madlow.
Yeah,
meeting up
and
at Madlow
they'll meet
outside.
Up with those carers and things like that. Like I say, every month we do something different. You know, we'll go on trips out. We'll go to our house and make food. We have amazing Christmas parties, silent discos, trip to the zoos, what we organise, everything, and every one of the children loves those activity meetings. And as well as those, the carers are all getting chance to meet each other and make those friendships as well. So it's one hub family.
Sounds like a real community.
It's amazing.
You're not just doing it in a silo, thinking I need to, you know, have all this expertise and be there 100% by myself for the child, but a real group to support each other, and you're not just doing it alone. There'll be people there to help you, and I think that respite thing is really important, because I can imagine for everyone getting it in one household, there might have been some trauma in the past. That's a lot to deal with.
Yeah.
You've got you know, your own lives, things going on, your own children. Imagine doing that alone must be quite daunting at first. So having the Mockingbird and different families come together, Sounds like it's made all the difference.
It does. One thing to remember with Mockingbird, it's never respite though. It's never classed as respite. The carers don't even have to ask us for the children. We can say, can they come and stay at weekend? Even if the carers don't need it or haven't asked for it. It's just about it's like being a grandma and granddad to the children. So it's natural where you go to your grandmas and granddads for a sleepover. Let's go to Wendy's and Paul's for a sleepover for the weekend. And if those carers need respite, often they go to one foster carer and then a different carer and then a different carer. But in Mockingbird, they just all come to us. And we've built those relationships with the children and with the carers, so it's just perfectly natural. It's just like going to grandma's house.
It's built up now, isn't it, where a few of the children ask when the next coming.
Yeah.
That's really
they want to come.
Again, a much more natural kind of family base. Let's go for a sleepover.
It's not like, you're being dumped over there. It's like the children are actually asking when's the next time that we're going sleeping at Wendy and Paul's.
Oh, I love that. And something we spoke about a little before we started recording was that kind of talking about barriers to entry, or people, what they say when they speak to you on foster care and saying, I could never give them back. I could never start fostering because I never want to kind of give them up. I'd get too attached. And you spoke really well about that in terms of how it's the kind of the mindset of you're not taking them to keep them. It's about looking after them to help them on their kind of journey. Can you say a little bit more about that?
We always like try and use the word we've borrowed them. With a lot of the children that we've fostered, we've forged really positive relationships with the birth families as well, with the parents. We've always promoted like contact and family time and things like that, where they'll go and see the parents. The young lady who's just moved on from us was going seeing her parents independently, but we'd take her, we'd pick her up, we'd drop in and have a chat with the birth parents. As she got older, we love these children, but they're not our own children. Like I said, one thing my mum used to say was, I'm the heart mummy and not the tummy mummy. And I think that's a good way of putting it.
And I suppose it's that delicate balance of saying we're here to help you, look after you, but not getting in the way and saying, you do have your own family, we're here to help for now, but making sure that I suppose it's quite a fine balance, isn't it?
Yes,
of not trying to overstep in that sense. Which I think for anyone considering it, it's know that that's the mindset you have to go into it with. I like the borrowing, not the I'm taking you in, which is something
absolutely
different.
We had two girls who actually were returned to a family member eventually, and when that happened, we tried to carry on helping that family member. She'd ring and she'd ask, because one of them was having problems with meal times and things like that, and she'd ring and ask us for strategies, and we'd discuss what we'd done, so we carried on offering support even when she'd returned home.
Wow. And we spoke about how how important like a sense of humour is, and I'm sure you're there to try and kind of teach and give a few kind of life lessons to these children and to help them kind of grow up to be responsible adults. Is there anything that you've learned from them, or maybe learned about yourselves for doing the process that you didn't expect?
We've learned everything from them, haven't we? I think we've realised how privileged an upbringing we've had, and what these children have endured, it's not their fault. And it's, as well as learning from them, it's trying to remove that stigma of being looked after, because there is a stigma in looked after children, or with children about looked after children, and it's trying to remove that stigma. But every child we've fostered has taught us something new, just little things or massive things, every single child.
Because we've had different, haven't we? We've had some children where they've gone in school and they've asked us, can we call you mum and dad, because they don't want to known that they're looked after. And then we've had others that have gone in school and found out every other looked after child in that school and tracked them down. So everyone's different how they deal with it.
What do you think needs to be done or could be done to help remove that stigma? I know it's a big kind of societal question, but obviously it must really affect mentally.
Absolutely. So as well as fostering, I also work in a school as well.
Okay.
I run a before and after school club at school, and I know in the school that I work at, they've done several assemblies about being in care, using like really good resources and books and things like that. And it's just educating the other children and their peers, and if they're educated, so they've got a better understanding for care experienced children, then I think that makes the journey for looked after children a lot easier.
One of our children held an assembly, didn't
One
he?
of
Did the assembly.
Yeah,
and
one of our last
after.
children actually held an assembly in the school, all about being looked after.
That's incredibly brave, isn't it?
Very, 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 very much so. And, you know, he did a question and answer session at the end.
How old would they have been when they did that?
9.
9.
Mm-hmm. 9, yeah, absolutely
Wow.
amazing, yeah. And at the end of the assembly, he did a question and answer session where all the other children could ask. And, you know, he'd been through an awful lot of trauma, and he really struggled, but it was something he was really determined to do. And, you know, if people talk about it, it does seem to be a bit of a closed subject, doesn't it, sometimes, looked after children in foster care and things like that.
Yeah. Oh, no, I thought you were going to say sort of like 15, 16 or
No,
something.
no, it's only
That is incredible.
primary school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to have that kind of emotional intelligence. And when you said the Q&A, I was like, I'm blown away.
Mm-hmm.
And I can really tell just through speaking to people, just I think the pride that comes out in like the children you've known and looked after. And,
Absolutely, every one of them, every single
I mean,
one
we've had
of
it
them.
well because we used to do park run, didn't we, and do run director at park run. And
Oh, yeah.
one of the young lady we had, what she had been then, about 10, 11. And she was run director for the day.
Yeah.
Wow.
And she won't say boo to her goose. What? She actually did the run director with the megaphone and everything.
She did, yeah. And it's promoting them, it's you know, getting them to build their confidence skills as well, isn't it? I think we can safely say that every child who's stayed with us and left us has really developed their confidence, really, very much, yeah.
Do you think there's sort of a thing in your household where it's kind of, you know, you've got to speak up, we'll all speak honestly with each other, kind of no place to be shy type of thing?
Yeah.
Give people the safe space where it's like, it's okay to kind of say what you think, in a sense?
Absolutely,
Yeah. If you could give one piece of advice, I know we've talked around, you know, just go for it, having this kind of sense of humour, but just one thing for people to take away from this, if they're considering it, what would it be? You know, down to one, maybe two things.
Just make the phone call. It's I'm not going to lie, it's a very challenging job, but it's one of the most rewarding things you'll ever do, and it's not a job, it's a vocation, and it's just one you'll love. It's fantastic.
Brilliant. Oh, thanks very much for that. Anything you'd like to say or anything like that, or are you all happy?
That's it, we're happy. Yeah, you spoke a lot there, didn't you?
All right. Been a lot then.
And you listened.
Well,
Yeah.